because there's a few things that I would like to make clear to the family. And I also need you to understand some things. You know, I went over the the audio that I went live about the brother, Kermit Dwayne Nolans is his name. And I was going through some paperwork, not to address this issue, but I was going through some paperwork, and so what I wanted to do was come live and just speak some truth to you all, because a lot of you don't know, you know, you don't know what's going on, you don't know about the case, you don't know why Bob is in there, and maybe some of you do, and you're just afraid. But so what I decided to do today was I was going through some stuff, you know, cleaning out my my file cabinet, and I came across some paperwork that I think is very important for you all to understand, okay? Um, I'm only coming forth, Rahubat Ranuki, I'm only coming forth so that you all can understand what's happening in the tribe, right? One of the reasons, major reasons why the master teacher is incarcerated is because his own people sold him out. And this isn't just something that happened overnight, okay? This took place throughout the time while he was on the land. There were many people that were informants that was around him. And so, no, I didn't live on Tamaray, but that doesn't, what does that have to do with what I'm doing for the master teacher now and what I'm doing to help him? So I came to today, I want to set the record straight and make some things clear to you all. I'm outside, you know, by the pool in my apartment complex. And so I just want to explain some things to you all so that way you can all get a clear understanding of what took place and why things are happening the way they are and who's a part of the scheme of things, okay? First of all, I'm going to move back a couple of years so that you all can understand what happened. I came to Georgia, right? I came to Georgia. I'm not going to read the comments. I came to Georgia because someone was giving me a vehicle. And what happened was Baba Yaanuwn told me that they, extraterrestrials, they used the car to lure me to get me to Georgia because a few years back when Baba was on Kadesh before he moved on Tamaray, I was in the community before I left in 93. I stayed in the community for 7 years. Okay, I was in Bushwick Avenue. I was in Detroit community. I was in Virginia community. I was in the Washington community, and I was also in the Cleveland, Detroit, Washington, Virginia. Yeah, those 4 communities, right? So what happens is, but when I first moved into the community, I worked in the master teacher's office. I didn't ask to work there. He brought me there. When I moved in, I wanted to calibrate myself and work with the children because they were speaking fluent Arabic. They would have Hafizu Quran. That means they knew the whole Quran. And Baba had how you call it, teachers come from the Sudan to teach the children, and we were living a pure way of al-Islam, right, in the Ansarullah community. But after I moved in, shortly after, it moved to the Nubian Islamic Hebrews, and we took the garbs off and we put the Butler Nawabis on, or what the Native Americans call Salwar Kameez. So I was told by the master teacher to go to Alabama. But I didn't know at the time, I didn't know that the math teacher was about to move to Georgia, which means I would have been right next door to him because I wanted to move on Kadesh, and he said no, but he didn't tell me why. He just said no. So I was upset, and he told the sisters that worked in the office to tell me to go to Alabama. I didn't want to go to Alabama. I said, ain't that where they be killing people and hanging people on trees? And so I said to the sister, let me speak to Baba. She said, he's standing right here. He told me to tell you to go to Alabama. And I said, well, what if I don't want to go to Alabama? He said, well, then just do what you want to do, but you're not coming on here on the land. So I left. That's when I left in 1992, going on in 93. And I also lived in a community in Long Island. You can ask the people. There was a brother named Duma who was in charge, and his wife Ruma. But her original name was Sauda. So so now the reason why I'm coming forth today is because I have some paperwork and I have some things that I need to clear so that you all can understand what's taking place, so y'all will know what's going on with Baba, how they move him around and stuff like that. Now so now I never moved to Alabama. I left. I met somebody. We started getting into credit cards and withdrawing money from the banks, and I made a lot of money. Okay, it became addicting. Okay, and so you're you're a bad host. You're not nice or polite. All right. So hold on, let me delete him. I have to speak. I'm talking right now. I don't have time. This is about Baba's life. I don't have time to be trying to say hello and getting all into the ego. I don't have time for that, man. Respect it. Okay, this is my live. If you don't like it, then go. I'm not your host. Okay? I'm coming live to tell y'all what happened to Dr. Malachi York. I don't got time to be saying hi to everybody. Hello, how you doing? And shout out to all this. Come on, man. Y'all caught up in the internet. Get out of that frame of mind. All right? I'm talking about somebody's life. I'm explaining to the family what took place with the master. I don't have time to be saying Rahul Bat and hi to you all. All right? I'm coming to talk the truth, and then I'm getting off this freaking internet. All right? I don't even like going live. Anyway, so stop being stupid, Artist Dudley. All right? Wake up. So now, this is about somebody's life who's been in prison for 23 years. I don't got time to be saying hi to everybody. All right? I just don't. So now, you could say hi to how y'all doing. All right? So now, what happened was when I left the community in 1993. Hold on, let me delete. I'm about to remove you out of here. Hold on, let me remove this dude. Put this using time out. Here. All right, now you can't say nothing. Okay? So, again, my name is PTAHBEEJET. PTAHBEEJET Hatshepsut. I'm a student of Panabab Yaanuwn, and I'm also one of the sisters that was assigned to work on his legal. Okay? And so what's going on right now is black devils in the tribe. Black devils in the tribe. Why do I have to take my glasses off? No, I'm leaving them on. Black devils in the tribe will create confusion and cause problems so that you all can't understand what's happening in his case, okay? So, oh, I see what you mean, take my glasses off so I won't have to read it. No, but I have stuff I have to read, okay? Let me see if I can see it. No, yeah, I need to read some things, and then I'll take my glasses off. Thank you, Sakin Senech Amun Re'e Tawutat. So now, what happened was, like I said, I lived in the community for 7 years. I was very young when I moved in 20, and I left at 27. And I didn't look my age. I looked like I was still 16, 17 years old. Because when you live in a community, you're praying, you're chanting, you're not sexually active, you're not exchanging DNA with men. You know, well, I wasn't, you know. And I didn't have a mate when I was in there, you know. And you know, that's just not how spiritual women, we don't think like that. You know what I mean? We don't think about men. We think about our spiritual life and where we need to go, how we can elevate ourselves. So now, I moved in a community in 86, and I left in 92, 93-ish, around that time. And then I stayed out, you know. I got involved with this credit card stuff, and I was making big money, and it became an addiction. You know, like anything, you can be addicted to food, whatever. Egotism, trying to be in charge, those are all addictions as well. And I became addicted to the physical. I was physically bound by that stuff. Of course, you know, that's how the devils work. They use the universe. They use things to put in your way, because once you live in the truth, their job is to get you away from the truth. Their job is to make you live a life of debauchery. They want you to stay out here in the world and not know the truth about who they are. You understand? So, few years later, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 2000, around the year 2000, I got locked up. I got caught up in this case. The cooperators told on me, and I got locked up. And I got indicted by the United States Secret Service. And those are the people that protect the president. But if you're involved in anything illegal that has to do with money, that has to do with banks, that has to do with counterfeit money, that's United States Secret Service. They get involved because that's how they control this world with the money. So whenever someone breaks their laws, their law tenantal, and does things to get over and make money, Secret Service gets involved. So Secret Service came to me. My mother had a dream, told me to stop doing this to get a job. I got a job working at a stockbroker's firm. I was a supervisor there, high executive position I had. I lied on my resume. I fixed that up, and they hired me, okay? And then while I worked there, I used to see people like Don King. Who else I saw? He's a devil. I saw Martha Stewart, a whole lot of other people whose names you won't even understand, you know, the Charles Schwab people, those corporate people. And so while I was working there, they came to my job and they said, hi. First, they took me in a room with my boss, and they was all sitting in there, and it was a very embarrassing moment. But they did it real smooth, and they said, you know who we are, and you know why we here, and they showed me their badge. And they took me to a place called 7 World Trade Center. It's not here anymore. It's before the World Trade Center blew up. And they indicted me. Thank you. That's a compliment, voodoo lady. They indicted me, and I got sentenced. I got out on an $80,000 bond, and I had to go back and forth to court. And instead of me turning myself in, I ran. And then they caught me because I got indicted in like 98, 99. And I ran, and a year and a half later, they caught me, and I got locked up. I did 2 years. When I came out, I met a friend of mine, didn't want me doing this anymore, and he wanted to help me out. He wanted me to be his girl. And he said, I'll take care of you. I'll give you a vehicle or whatever, but you got to stop doing this. Like, you know, you don't belong. And even when I got incarcerated, the people there, the officers and stuff, they used to always tell me, you don't belong in here. You don't belong in here. And I say, no, I did, you know, I did what I did. They said, no, you don't understand, Yehuda. You don't belong in here. They used to tell me that, you know. And I was like, oh, well, whatever, in my mind, you know. And so when I got out, I went to go get the vehicle. And when I went to go get the car, I got locked up in Georgia. When I got locked up in Georgia, I got locked up in a place called Clayton County, right? Because that's where I was at. I was with a friend of mine who was driving on a suspended license. I didn't even know that. I would never got in a car with her. So when I went to Clayton County, she got pulled over and got arrested for driving on a suspended license. And then they went in my wallet and saw all these cards with these different names on it. And it didn't add up to my name. So I showed them my driver's license, but my name kept coming up as Deborah Smith. It didn't come up as Yehuda. That's another story, okay? So anyway, make long story short, I got arrested, and I was in Clayton County Jail. While I was in Clayton County Jail, I remember while I was in my cell, well, first of all, the officers there, they were all women. The women work with the women and the men with the men. And while you're in the facility, inmates can write each other. And you look this up, like Baba says, don't believe me, check it out. Inmates can write each other in the jails, in county jails. So if Baba was in Jones County, I could have wrote him. But what happened was Sheriff Sills was torturing our master teacher, right? They kept moving Baba from jail to jail to jail. So what happens when they do that is they do what's called diesel therapy. So now when you get transferred from one county jail to another, your paperwork doesn't follow you. It comes with you later on, you get it. So what happens is when they transport an inmate from one jail to the next, the officer that comes to get the inmate, they give the officer all of the inmates' paperwork. And then they shackle you, put you in a van, put you in a bus, and transfer you to another facility. So when this happens, it messes up. You can't study your case. Now, there were people in the tribe, like Joseph Hibner, who I put on my wall, his wife Robbie Ward, whose last name is Hibner now, Dana Miller, Al Woodall, Bobby Dixon, he's a police officer too. Well, I don't think he was, well, yeah. Hoon Twee, who y'all call Anthony Montgomery. The other brother, there's another brother who had kids with this sister who lives in Macon. I forgot his name, but I'm going to put it all together on my wall, and it's going to, what I'm telling you today is going to make sense later on, okay? So now, what happened was when your master teacher was being transferred around, there were members of the tribe who were informants that was working with the government, okay? And what they did was they transferred the master teacher from jail to jail to jail. Sheriff Sills was doing that, and they was torturing him. They wasn't giving him his medication. He was worrying about Kathy and the other women that was in jail. He was worrying about the children in the land. Y'all know how Baba is. He's always loved children and felt, yeah, let me take this off so I can't read that. So y'all know how the master teacher is. He always loved the children and the women. He always protected us. He always made sure that and I don't want to say he always loved children, because y'all will take something like that and make it seem like he's a pedophile. No, the it's always been about raising the children up so that we could have a race of children that don't think like the children in their world, how they raise their children up eating candy on Halloween and, eating garbage and dyed foods and, bad habits. And he raised a group of children that spoke another language. You understand? And that's why most of them, if you saw some of them, they look foreigners. They don't look like Americans because they were raised in a clean way. So now I'm going to get to this in a minute. So now what happened was they moved me. I went to Georgia. The girl that I was with got arrested, and then they arrested me, and they went through my wallet and they locked me up. And first of all, they didn't have the rights to even search me or nothing. I could have got out, but it didn't work that way. So the master Yaanuwn, Panabab Yaanuwn, they used the vehicle to get me to Georgia. And once I got to Georgia, I got to Clayton County, and then Sheriff Sills was torturing the master teacher and transferred him from jail to jail, and he wound up being in Clayton County. There was an officer in there named Yuri Johnson. Officer Yuri Johnson is from Philadelphia, and he was in there. And one time he he mentioned something about Dr. York, something like that. No. He mentioned something about Dr. York in the case that was going on. And I said, you believe that crap? So me and him started going back and forth. The officers, they officers, they human. You know what I'm saying? We was just talking, and I was like, you believe that crap? I was like, that man would never do anything like that to kids, and we was going back and forth about it. So then when I was in my cell, I wasn't getting any air because it's a central system in there, and the air comes from a ventilation thing, and my sinuses was messing with me. So I went to medication to go get, you could fill out a form to get, sinus things so I could breathe. And because I wasn't going outside either, they had put me on lockdown 24 hours. I couldn't come out. I got into it with the officers. That's a whole nother story. They was like, lock her up, lock her up, for real. So anyway, once I got in there, I saw the officer. He was like, yo, your homeboy here? I said, who? He said, Dr. York. I said, Dr. York? He said, excuse me, y'all, this thing is bothering my head. I got to loosen it up. I said, Dr. York? He said, yeah, Dr. York. I said, he in this facility? He said, yeah, he in here. I said, what? Get out of here. So I said, are you going to see him today? He was like, yeah. So I said, you got something I could write down that you could, pass him a note for me? He was like, yeah, no problem. So I wrote Baba. I said, it's me, Koratu Ayn. I said, can I write you? Because we can write each other. In the jail, all the inmates in the South, they only do it in the South because they don't do that up north. If you get locked up and somebody else get locked up, let's say you and your boyfriend get locked up together, you can't write him. They don't let y'all write each other because they don't want y'all lining stuff up. But in the South, they let inmates write each other. So Bob and I was writing each other. And it was almost my birthday. I was 35 years old. I had just turned 36. So he wrote me, said happy birthday. He wrote me in, and I got the letter in my house. I could show that to y'all another time. When I put them on the wall, I'll show it to y'all. And he wrote me, because I saved it. He wrote me, he said happy birthday. He told me to get in contact with Bun from the bookstore on Auburn Avenue. And Bun was sending me books, and I was communicating with Baba, and we were writing each other. You don't believe me? Ask the brother Anthony Evans. He was there. He'll tell you. So Baba and I were writing each other, and then while I was in there, he told me, he said, no, he told the officer, I was talking to the officer. I saw the officer again. I said, did you give it to him? He was like, yeah. He said, I said, what did he say? He said, he was like, you should move to Liberia. I said, and the officer said, Liberia? He was like, yeah. He said, because that's where the tribe is moving when we leave. And the officer told me what Baba said. I said, what? And I called my mom, and I told her, I said, Mommy, look, I know you're upset that I'm in here, but this is my last time. This won't happen again. But this is, and I was trying to explain to my mother that this is spiritual, but I couldn't tell her about Baba because my family never liked, they opposed me living as a Muslim wearing a veil or being around PTAHBEEJET Yaanuwn. So what happened was, after I moved in, after I spoke with Baba, and Baba said what he said to the officer, I got excited and I wrote a letter to Baba about it. I was like, oh my God. I was so freaking happy because I knew I was going to Africa. I knew it. And I still know this. To this day, I know we out of here. So this is the letter that I wrote. So I wrote the letter to Baba. And now this is an affidavit. This is an affidavit. I'm going to read this to y'all, that I wrote to Bob, because when I wrote the letter to the master teacher, the Sheriff Seals was interceding our letters. He wanted to know, when I would write Baba, like I said, there was another officer, a sheriff in there named Sheriff Tuggle, and I threatened him too, because he came to my cell one time. That's another story. So Sheriff Tuggle and Sheriff Seals was working together, and Baba lost the most weight in Clayton County because that's where they was torturing him. Okay? But like I said, like I told y'all before when I read the letter, he said we used the car to get you to Georgia, because I would have never came down south. He said once I got there, they put me there, and I guess Baba came there, and then he knew I was there. So then I wrote the letter to Baba, being excited about going to Africa, okay? And they intercepted that letter and used it, and they kept, so this is what happened. So I wrote this affidavit, and I'm going to share this with y'all now. Hold on, let me turn this camera around. Okay, this is what it says. It says, my name is Deborah Yehuda, a.k.a. Deborah Smith. I'm over the age of 18 years old. I am making this affidavit based on my own personal knowledge of the facts. I have known a man from West Africa by the name of Reverend Dr. Melakazi York for over 23 years. On September 14, 2002, I was arrested and detained in Clayton County Jail. Dr. Melakazi York was also detained there, held as a prisoner for Sheriff Howard Richard Seals. Letters I wrote to Malachi York were intercepted by Sheriff Howard Richard Seals and handed over to District Attorney Dawn Baskin. My letter had mentioned to Dr. Melakazi York of his love for his people and his wishes of returning to Liberia, West Africa. I had learned this exciting news from Corrections Officer Yuri Johnson, and I also knew from past discussions with Dr. Melakazi York of going back home to Liberia, West Africa. My letter was used in court against Dr. Melakazi York to prove he was a flight risk. Dr. York never received that letter. I swear and affirm the above and foregoing is true and correct. And as you can see, I signed it, and it's public notarized in 2007, okay? So now, what happened was, so after that happened, what the informants in the tribe did was they tried to say that I was a plant by the government and put in there to make sure that Baba doesn't get repatriated. But they was already working against him, because if you ask Rana is her real name, but Raina, right, that we know as Raina, when she was working with Nefu, Amenhotep, right? What Nefu did was Raina's phone rang. I mean, Nefu's phone rang, and Raina picked up the phone and said, "Hello," and they said, "Did you get the?" They said, "Did you get the repatriation papers?" They said that to Raina, okay? And Raina put the phone down, and this is coming. She told me this out of her own mouth. She said she put the phone down. It started going, oh, oh, oh. And she said, Nefu came and said, what happened? And she said, that was the feds. They asked, did you get the repatriation papers? And what Nefu did was start screaming and yelling. Like I said, they black devils, y'all. They lie. Nefu started screaming and yelling and saying, oh, wow. Nefu lied to Raina and said that Baba told her to forward Rochelle York's calls. This girl, Rochelle, was also working on Baba's case. Like I said, y'all, I'm going to put every single last one of them niggas that was surrounding the master teacher's case. I'm going to put them up on the wall. And I'm just like how I'm talking to you now. I'm going to do my best to stay calm, and I'm going to explain to you all what happened, okay? So now, what Nefu did, because she was a part of the conspiracy, she was working with the government too. And she was the mate of the brother that they call Rick, right? And Rick was working with Nefu because, like I said, these were all people, all these people. Can y'all see me? Why the light went down? Okay. So all of these people were working with the government against Dr. Malachi York. Do you understand? The people that were around him, the people that come to visit him, for whatever reason, I'm not a master. Like I said, the master teacher's mind is far more ahead than we are. Because remember, he comes from 76 trillion years of knowledge, right? And they came here for their seed on this planet. Some of us are, like Baba called a Halloween. I don't want to say the wrong name. Some of us are the gold. Now, I don't want to say the golden children. Some of us are star seeds, star children. It's not from here. And there's some people that going around saying they're star children. Some of them are freaking crazy. They're not. Okay? And the master teacher said that they're here for their seed because they're about to, remember, they was about to let the four winds close back in 1970. But they said, no, what about the children? Let's get them and then we do it. Let's get them. So they decided to get their children and also renew the 26,000 year cycle, which is part of the reason why Malachi is incarcerated. He's an extraterrestrial from another planet, okay? And some of us are their children, okay? And I'm one of them, okay? So now, not only am I a child of one of their seeds, I'm also a sister that was assigned to work on his case. And that's why I know so much about the case. There's nothing that I'm making up. Janet Goins, Raina, Dana, Nefu, Zanitra, who else? Waki, Fatima York, those are all witches. They are the opposite of the children of Most High. They are children of fire. And their descendants are the disagreeable Anunnaki or Elohims that came down and went into the men, to the women and had sex with them and taught them witchcraft. They're witches, okay? There's a whole lot of them all over the planet. Most people that you see with high positions in corporate organizations and managers and stuff like that, they're all freaking witches. Okay, principals in schools, they're everywhere. So they use this affidavit, right, to prove. They said this, and then I also forgot to read this part. It says, my letter was used in court against Malachi York to prove he was a flight risk, and then I signed it, and the notary is in 2007, okay? So now, I want to read, so now we got that out the thing. What happened was, I was lured to Clayton County Jail. Extraterrestrials set it up, used the car to get me to Georgia, and I wound up in the same jail with the master teacher. Then like I said, I was on federal probation because I had did 2 years in the feds for the credit card fraud and the bank fraud, and then I got transferred from Georgia to New York because I violated my probation, and that's where I'm from. Now, if you look at my I'll show you that when I put them on the wall. My inmate number is 054, just like Bob's is 054. You overstand? So these people in the tribe, they're doing things, they're creating situations to make y'all think I'm crazy, to make y'all think that I'm not working for the master, to make y'all think that I'm a liar. And they're the ones that's the liars. The ones that's saying this about me, they're the liars. Because think about it. How many years have I been putting them on the wall for the last 2 years, and then none of them ever come to say that I'm not speaking the truth? And the math teacher made it clear that you trap the devil with the truth, because the truth, something about the truth, that the devil can't touch it. They can't touch the truth. It burns them. You understand? So now we got that done. Let's get to the next one. For now. So when I got locked up in Clayton County, after they finished, I did my little bit of time in there, which is about maybe 4 or 5 months, maybe 6 months, I think, 7 months. Then I got transferred to New York. When I got transferred, expedited to New York, because I was on probation, because I had did 2 years in the feds, and I left the state without permission. That's the look, when you read the what I was going to say, excuse me, I forgot something. Hold on a second. I was going to say something and she just threw me off. Yeah, y'all, like and subscribe, please. Like. There was something else I wanted to tell y'all that's really important. But anyway, so what happened was, when you read the probation rules on federal probation, the first rule that they got is that you cannot leave the state without permission. And I broke that rule. And I had already been on probation for a year, right? And I thought my probation officer was going to reinstate me on probation, but instead she gave me 2 years. And I was mad at her. I was so mad at that lady, because she was a black woman, and she used to always question me about my jewelry, what I had on, where you get this from and that from. You know, she say all kinds of stuff that she didn't know about me that wasn't true, you know. So once I got to New York, there was a lady who worked for the government too, who worked in the facility, that knew Baba. She said I was on Tamaray. I know Dr. Melakazi York. So what they did was they transferred Baba from Georgia to New York. They transferred me to New York as well. And Baba was on a floor called 10 South. That's where they torture you at. They torture inmates on 10 South, right? But before Baba got to 10 South, there was a few officers in there that helped him out, gave him a phone so he could make phone calls and different things like that. And then I called KU's, because I had his number. I had met him at Bun Bookstore. It's another story. Because I got out when I don't want to get into that. So KU's gave me his number, and I called him and asked him where's Baba at, because I wanted to write Baba. I wrote him when he was in Jones County, because Jones County jail looked like a home address or like a P.O. box. So I wrote him from the prison to Jones County, because in the feds, inmates can't communicate with each other. They can't write each other. So I wrote Baba from there, and then I asked I think my letter came back, and I asked KU's where's Baba, and he said, oh, he's at 150 Park Row. I said, that's where I'm at. I'm at 150 Park Row. And so then after they found out, when I don't know if it was KU's or whatever, or how because Baba said in my letter that the Wicked Seed found out about our lift, that we were going to be taken together. And they put Baba in a room full of lead, in a cell full of lead. And Baba said they saw me, but they didn't see Baba, because I was in a dorm. They moved me from MCC New York and took me to a dorm. I was like, why y'all moving me? I was so mad, because Baba was in the same place I was at. But then they moved Baba too. They moved him into a cell full of lead. And I remember the extraterrestrials, they told me to lay on my back. And I laid on my back. And after I laid on my back, I woke up and I was like, I'm still here. I don't remember everything. I could only remember part of it. But they have a way where they can erase things from your memory. So anyway, so after that, I got out. And when I got out, Baba wrote the brother Dion in the Auburn bookstore, because Bum wasn't there no more, and told Dion Or I think he called the bookstore, said, tell PTAHBEEJET to write me. I said, he said for me to write him? I didn't know who I was to Baba. Like I said, I'm just thinking I'm just an ordinary person. And like I said, there was extraterrestrials in my cell. They was talking to me. And then Baba had told me, look at the date you got arrested. And I got arrested September 2014. And when I looked up the date, Baba said, now let's go to Revelations because we in the end. In Revelations, it talked about the 144,000 on Mount Zion. So I got excited and was like, oh, I'm one of the 144,000 in the extraterrestrials that was in the cell with me and Baba. I felt them there. And they was we was all communicating telepathically. And they said to Baba, she don't know what's wrong with her. And Baba said, don't worry, I'll fix that. He said, don't worry, I'll fix it. He kept telling them that. Every time they didn't understand why I didn't understand things, right? And so when I was transferred from Georgia to New York and I got taken up, and then when I woke up and I was still there, and then when I got out, I got a message from Baba, don't go back to New York. If you do, sin will be waiting at the door for you. And I was released in September of 2004, okay? So that's how that happened. So now, when I got out, my first letter to Baba, anytime I ever wrote him, my first letter to him when I was in there, I said, yo, we got to get out of here. I said, they got the Confederate flag. I was trying to let Baba know, like, yo, they crazy racists in Georgia. Like, we got to get out of here. And I guess then when I got out, I was in the halfway house, and there was a brother in there whose mother had the lawyer, Agent Patrick, and he railroaded them. And he told me, he said, yo, he saw me, I had the Book of Light, that small little Book of Light with the sword on it. I was reading that. And when I had the Book of Light, he saw Baba on it. He said, yo, Dr. Melakazi York, he got that lawyer, Agent Patrick. He was like, yo, that nigga sold me and my mom's out. He took our money, and he was just starting to tell us everything that took place. So, with his family. So what I did was, when I got out in 2004, September 2004, I wrote Baba, and I mentioned him about Agent Patrick. I also mentioned to him about a law called something versus Blakely, Washington versus Blakely law, right? I told Baba that. And then after that, I said, I wrote about the case, and Baba wrote me back and said, yeah, the Washington versus Blakely law is going to work in my case because they can't give you enhancements anymore in the feds when it comes to legal. And then Baba told me to move to Georgia, closer to the family. And that's when he was letting me know, like, whatever I do, that's when he was letting me know, look, whatever you do, don't go back to New York. Sin will be waiting at the door for you. He told me that I'm one of them. He said, I know some of the things you feel and the things that you go through. He said, you're one of us, is what he said to me. I was like, well, okay. But I didn't take it. I didn't, get big-headed and act like I was, oh, I'm one of them, and start walking all slow and like I got a crown on my head. You understand? It is what it is, man. You're on a planet that you don't belong on, and you're on a planet where it's wicked people, they're children, and it's disgusting here. I mean, you can't turn on the news without seeing something horrible taking place, and they try to clean it up, in the end of the news by having a happy story when they know that their world is dying. So once I got to Georgia, Baba said he would write me, I need you to get with Neeful, get with Robbie, get with so-and-so, get with such and such. He would tell me, this ant, he would tell me he wanted me, the ant telling me to read this. He would tell me to get close to the family. And so we started communicating with each other, all right? And so I started to write him, he wrote me, and he would tell me things about his case. And me being a former federal inmate, you learn the law when you get locked up. If anybody goes to prison and don't learn the law, it's because they stupid, okay? So now, I studied the law, all right? And then Baba started writing me. So now this is what I want y'all to listen to this. This is something that the math teacher wrote me. And it's so y'all can understand what's going on, okay? So that way, hold on. Okay. Let me read this to y'all first. about the furloughs. Listen, this is what Baba says to me, okay? Listen. He says, you see, with the medical transfer, a game is played by lawyers, paid, and institutions. They go to court, yet the court says, we will transfer the inmate to such and such medical penitentiary. Yet, for the trick word is furlough. So they have it all planned from the other to say, we agree with the finding. And let's say Florence then return the inmate back from the medical to Florence. That is the game. I recognized it with the NLPA, National Legal Professional Associates, that's what that stands for, paperwork that Rico and Mike worked on, and asked knowing inmates, meaning that Baba asked inmates about that. They confirmed that is one of the penitentiary's trick tactic to set up. They play sometimes. He said that is a tic-tac, a setup they play. Sometimes the lawyers are with them because they already have been paid. They say, I know what to do. More money. I will file this or that. Look this up as well. You see, they've been doing this for many years. So they have a working system they use over and over on unknowing inmates and loved ones. Let me know you understand this as well, Pops. So this is what I was trying to say to Kermit D. Nolans. Because Baba says, you see, with the medical transfer, a game is played by lawyers paid and institutions. They go to court, yet the court says, we will transfer the inmate to such and such medical penitentiary. Yet the trick word is furlough. So they have it all planned from the other to say, we agree with the finding, and let's say Florence, then turn the inmate back from medical to Florence. That is the game. I recognize it with the NLPA paperwork that Rico and Mike worked on and asked no inmates about that. They confirm that is one of the penitentiary's tactic, a setup. They play sometimes. The lawyers are with them because they already have been paid. They say, I know what to do. More money. I will file this or that. Look this up as well. You see, they've been doing this for many years. So they have a working system they use over and over on unknowing inmates and loved ones. Let me know you understand this as well, Pops. Okay? So now, what the master teacher is trying to say is that it's all a game. And they always saying, yeah, we getting ready to file this. We getting ready to do that. We getting ready to do that. And then what it is? More money, more money, more money. And the lawyers know that it's all a lie. Okay? So that's what I was trying to explain to Kermit Nolans and stupid Amunuma, who never ever wrote Panabab Yaanuwn, that y'all don't even know what's going on. Y'all don't even know how Baba think because you never wrote him. And when I was talking to Baba about witchcraft and saying that they did stuff to me, and he said, I don't understand what you mean. What he really meant was, I know what you mean. Okay? You don't overstand because you don't know the mind of a master. Y'all think y'all know everything and y'all don't know anything. You know nothing because all these years he's been in there, you didn't think about, you wasn't concerned about his life. Even when he lost his writing privileges, you still didn't work to help him. The only time most of you care about his life is when he give you a position or a title or he's in your favor. But whenever he's going against or he doesn't like what you're doing and saying, then all of a sudden you don't know him anymore. You understand what I'm saying? So all these years I've been working to help Baba. I've been fighting black devils. You understand? In the tribe that work for the government. You understand? They work for the GBI, which is the Georgia Bureau of Investigations. They work for the CIA. Listen, because these people made a big mistake. There's a lot of mistakes in this case, and a lot of them can get in trouble for what they did. You understand? So this is one of the reasons why things that I've done, I'm this close to having Baba out. Then boom, here they come doing stuff to mess it up. I asked y'all for money. Oh no, they asking for money. I asked for support. They ask for support. I ask for help. They ask. You understand? Every time I do something, they do the opposite because the government is watching them, and they say, yo, you got to block that lady. Make sure she don't get no help. You feel me? So, another thing. This is another thing that y'all need to understand. And I'm glad I'm outside because it stops me from yelling. Because I get so upset, y'all. Y'all don't understand. I get so pissed off when I think about all the games that these niggas play on Baba, yo. And y'all listen to them. Let me tell you something, too, that I wanted to mention about Kermit D. Nolans. Yo, that nigga is negative. He's real freaking. He always talk about, I would never, ever talk about somebody that died. They always try to act like they're so freaking good. Oh, sorry, you had to go. They always try to act like they're so good. You know, it's disturbing. It's disturbing sometimes to listen to them. But see, what's disturbing when you listen to them is when you know, you understand, when you know who they are, when you know what they are, when they talk to you, it pisses you off. Because you like, yo, these niggas is straight lying, making up stuff, lying, because they don't want Yaanuwn to ever get out of there. You best to believe it. And I'm starting to believe that all these people that are standing before y'all teaching, they full of it too. They all just want a name. It's always a brother. And you know what Baba told me? Baba said that's why he said he wrote the sisters more than the men, because the women cared. We're mothers. We cared about his life. You know, when Baba got letters from the sisters, they were concerned about his life. Is there anything I can do to help you? You know, they would ask him questions and stuff like that. You know, there's the brothers. They always wanted, let me know, Pops. I'll let them know. Take a hold the letter and stand up in front of y'all and make y'all think these great leaders when they're informants. Okay? Listen, y'all, again, this is what informants do. They come inside and they pretend that they are one of us. Again, they come inside and pretend that they're one of us. They study the case, they study the books, they study the doctrine, and then they come around us. Kermit D. Nolans lived in a house full of informants, and Baba moved them all on the land. Okay? All of them niggas was on Tamarack. Now, this is something else that another note that I came across. I made a copy of this. This is another note that I came across that I needed y'all to listen to, okay? Okay. This is what the math teacher says. He said, make a note. I was in Marion Penitentiary in 2006. As soon as they heard that my Liberian diplomatic consul general passport had been reissued, they moved me to Florence Penitentiary in 2007. You see? Check the dates. You will see. They knew of my diplomatic status and Liberian citizenship, as well as me being a Native American Yamasee Mishkogi who never was an American citizen. So they keep cutting me off from the family and world. So we can't line things up. You see, and then Bob is talking about this attorney. So also, if this lawyer wished to protect royals and hide the facts of his violations, I don't wish to deal with him at all. I should not have to convince him to respect the laws he took an oath to. Remember, lawyers are officers of the court. Please, I'm pledged to protect their system, not the people as such. Again, they moved Baba, so now, they moved the master teacher to Florence, Colorado, when his passport got reissued in 2006. He was in Marion, and then they sent him to Colorado and put him underground. There were people in the tribe that worked against the master teacher. Rochelle York, Neeful, all of them. Like I said, I'm going to put them all on my wall. So y'all get ready. And this one is going to be more powerful than any update I've ever done. I'm putting them all on the wall, okay? And no, the truth needs to be told. It ain't slander, it's the truth. So me as a woman, how do you think I feel? Writing Baba all these years, communicating with him all these years, talking to him all these years, and he's still in there. And like I said, they'll try to flip it on me and say, you know, you never, they'll say to me, You said you was gonna do this. You said you was gonna. I did do things. Listen, I got the master teacher, a dentist in there. When he had a toothache, he was in pain on the visit. You know what they did? They had a ball. They was all standing up in front of you. I'm the wife. I'm the wife. You know, when Baba was sick, okay? They wasn't thinking about his life and his health, and I got a dentist to see him in there. Another time when Baba was marrying, they stomped on his foot, and that's why he walks with a limp to this day, because he got an infection. His toe had broken. You understand? And they knew about that. They never told us that. You understand? And so it's like, you know, the master teacher was being tortured in there. You understand? It was only one, it wasn't so much that one person could do. Y'all just wouldn't work with me and help me. And then when y'all did help me, there was brothers or sisters helping me. There was always something attached with it, some hidden agenda, you know, to either take me down, hurt me, kill me, you know what I'm saying, put witchcraft on me and do all kinds of things to hurt me. You understand? And now look at them. Look at their lives. Look at Waukee, always falling, breaking. Look at KU's in the freaking nursing home with one leg and he blind. You know, y'all need to start thinking, and stop thinking the opposite. Think the opposite. You understand? That's how you're able to defeat the devil. Stay in the word. If you're chanting, if you're praying, if you're studying the affirmation, then the things that I say shouldn't bother you. You understand? If I'm talking about people that did this to PTAHBEEJET Yaanuwn, it's my job. You understand? It's my job, like Baba told me. It's your job just as well as it's mine to help save the lost sheep of the house of Israel, Ishmael. It would be wrong for me, especially as a child of Panatharu, to sit back and watch this and don't do anything. Do you understand? We are governed by rules from our star system. Okay, we can't sit back and let this happen and not say anything, not do anything. Okay, I'm not making this about me. You understand? I've never ever made this about me. The only time I brought my name up was because they were slandering me, saying that I said I'm some spirit, some extraterrestrial and all that. Bothers them. They don't like to hear that because they don't want y'all to know the truth. They want y'all to stay in religion. You know, they want y'all to stay in a fake world and not thinking that, listen, this is a man. Yes, he's an extraterrestrial, but he needs our help. It's not going to work no other way, okay? The ancestors, they don't work that way. They guide us, and we have to be smart enough to say, okay, let me do this, let me do that. Let me do this, let me do that. Okay, let me not do this, let me do that. You understand? That's how it works. So you heard Baba say in his own words that when he was in Marion Penitentiary in 2006, as soon as they heard that his Liberian diplomatic consul general passport had been reissued, they moved him to Florence, Colorado. You will see that they knew that so soon as that all happened, then they moved Baba to Colorado. And like I said, Sakina, I don't want to say Mad Carre, Fatima York, her mother, you know, they all are part of the scheme of things, man. And all of them are black devils. Topper, Nababtet, all of them. Think about this. They're supposed to be Baba's wives. Why would Baba put his wife in a house, in a building, or a brownstone right next door to men? And if you ever been over there, you notice that the light that shines in front of 717, they went in the thing and cut the lights off over there. So that way you won't see them going back and forth with each other. They're full of it, man. They're full of it. And you think about all the people that ever went to see Baba in all these years, where are they? All the people that used to go visit him and stand before us, where they at? That should let you know. Y'all got to stop thinking that I'm the enemy, because I'm not, okay? And like I said, I got a whole lot of stuff that I got, how many? 4 envelopes of letters, 4 of them. And like I said, I can't pull out everything because then you'll know things that you ain't supposed to know. But these are things that I put out, and I got other stuff where Baba would circle this, underline that. Hold on, let me see if I brought the other thing out. It was another one that they was messing with Baba's, saying that Baba's they was trying to affiliate the tribe with the Nuwaupians because Tapa is a devil. Tapa's a black devil. That's why. That's why Tapa, okay? Nuberian. He's a freaking black devil. All right. And like I said, if he was concerned about Baba's life, he would have got his brother and all of them to get involved and to go to the feds to tell the truth. Ask him why he didn't do that. It's people that could get involved and help and they won't do it. But they'll play games and make y'all think that they working for Baba and they're not. That's why Topper. He know I don't like his bony red behind. So now, there was another letter that Baba wrote to me, right? I forgot to bring it out here. And he said, now there's the Nuwaupian Nation of Moors, right? Or not the Nuwaupian Nation of Moors. They was trying to affiliate our tribe as being the Nuwaupian Nation of Moors. So what they did was they said, they stopped Baba writing privileges, right? Wouldn't let Baba get to the step down program, which makes him more free, able to walk around. He won't be confined to the rules in the Supermax in the step down program. And so what they did was they wrote Baba back when he tried to get there and said, "You are the leader of the Nuwaupian," and they spelled our name wrong, the Nuwaupian Nation of Moors, Rahubat. They would say that to Baba to say that he's the leader of the Nuwaupians. And then they try to affiliate us with the Moorish people. And then when you go on TV, you see all these horrible things happening with these brothers and their truth law, with them buying these houses and getting all these houses and getting arrested. And they try to affiliate us with them. You see? And that's what they was doing to Baba. They want Baba to stop teaching. They want Baba to not teach this doctrine anymore. They wanted Baba to stop writing books and putting this stuff out. And for those of you who don't think he's writing the books, all I could say is this to you is this: call the prison. Say, hey, I wish I had my other phone because I'll call right now and say, are inmates allowed to write books in prison? That's all you gotta do. That's all it takes is a phone call. Y'all won't even do that. Y'all continue to dispute everything that the master teacher does from in there. Y'all tend to every freaking thing that he does, nothing but a bunch of Mosesites. Y'all won't just trust him. You've been in his presence. Y'all seen him perform miracles right before us, and y'all continue to disregard all that was taught to us in all these years. And so I'm here to, like I said today, I just came to set the record straight. I wanted to read this to y'all. I wanted y'all to understand what happened with Liberia and what they did with my letter. They interceded the letter. They lied to Baba, told him that lied to the family, told the family that I was a part, that I'm a part of the conspiracy, and that I'm the reason why he didn't get transferred. That's all game. Duswa is a pedophile, all right? And listen, I got documents coming my way, and y'all gonna see his name on it. He raped a little girl. He sexually assaulted her anally and vaginally, a grown man. Y'all online listening to this devil, and I'm online telling y'all the truth about him. Because remember when Diamond, who was living over there with her daughter, when she left Ghana and came here to the United States, he took his whole Facebook page down. Why did he do that? You see? Y'all got to start watching these people, man, that I'm telling y'all about. And y'all need to understand that I'm not lying, okay? And so now, before I hang up, I can answer the questions. Let me scroll back up to this disrespectful chat that y'all saying me. Can you do a backflip? What else? Thank you. Senka Amunuree, Voodoo Lady. Are you Christian? Do you take accountability for your actions? If so, then you're good in my book. Of course, I always do take responsibilities for my actions. I always do. I know with the things that I did. Like I said, he's without sin, let him cast the first stone. I haven't done anything wrong to anyone in this tribe. I haven't. When I was out there, yeah, I beat plenty of. I feel bad about some people that I put my hands on, okay? Because I got a temper. And like I said, we're not about being violent in the Wapple, But when I was in the feds, I had to fight some people. You understand? I had to open up a can of whoop ass, for real. So then you're good in my book. Respectfully, you are not Zulu. Please change your name. Zulu is a South African tribe. You're not reading, you don't know what I am. Sorry, sister, you are not welcome here in Africa. I am sorry. Arabia, I love you so much. Hi, I am waiting. Who is I am waiting? I don't know who that is. You're pretty. The sun goddess is the truth. The enemy and deceiver, Jesus Christ, will try to sway you from the one true Messiah. Whitney Houston, the sun goddess. I am a priestess and healer at my temple, and I can heal your dirty, wretched souls. Whitney Houston, the one true God and Messiah, my intercession and great source of divinity and joy, blood of the Lamb, shifter of worlds, and creator of humanity. I only have one Messiah, Whitney. Wow. What's happening, sister? Pardon me, my lady divine. You monitoring spirits, hit the damn like button. What you talking about, sister? I don't know what you're talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you have to watch this from the beginning. Truth, she's talking about the truth. She's talking stories in one circle. No, I'm not. Yes, that is correct. I know that outskirt area. I'm twerking to your face. Somebody named Bo. Bell peppers, nose is unsavory. For the life of me, I can't understand why that area, College Park, is 25 miles away. Did you get turned out in prison? No, I didn't. Make sense of what she's saying. A person can't get turned out in prison. That's what men do to men in there. Women don't, women in prison don't behave the way men do when y'all go take showers and they go in there and they rape y'all. They don't do that in the prisons with women. We're very family oriented in women, you know, in prison. And the lesbian women, I respect them, you know. I don't respect them, but I respect their right to choose how they want to live in there. You know, why would I want to be with women in a prison full of women that I don't know, with germs and diseases and stuff like that? You know, I'm very clean woman, so no, I did not mess around with women in prison. That's definitely his handwriting. Yes, Overstand, laughing my. So, she can talk, but she can't read fluently. Can y'all not act like feds in the chat? Jesus Christ, we was kangs. All right, it's about time. He's one chosen ones. He opened his third eye. You tell the truth. He's pissed. I am Islam like everyone else. You should be asking for literacy classes. Are you playing the race card again? A black woman? Never. Another professional victim. Okay, I'm not going to read this. All right, y'all, I got to go. I just wanted to see what was going on. I just wanted to set the record straight. It's hot out here. I'm in Sunshine State, chilling like a Mac villain. Anyway, y'all, we out of here. I just wanted to set the record straight. So now y'all could send this around to Kermit, Dwayne Nolans, and Amanuma. You're a sad brother, man. For you to take sides with the enemy, it shows you that who you are, you know? You taking sides with the enemy when you knew for a fact that I'm working for the math teacher for many years. And all that talking about I was banging to get in, I saw her that night. You never been around. You never came around, brother. You're lying, okay? I didn't have to bang in to get anywhere, all right? To get in anywhere, all right? Stop making stuff up, acting like you know me. You don't know me, okay? None of you know me. You didn't live in Athens, Georgia. You never been to my house. You don't know me. I live in apartment 3333, 105 Oak Hill Drive. All right, y'all don't know me. Stop acting like you know me. I'm always moving around. Y'all don't know me. You never lived with me, okay? And the people that I did move in with, they're devils. Listen, they're all devils. They're all jealous, and they playing games, okay? So that's it. I gotta go, y'all. Wadu.